Good evening, everyone. I'm going to talk even though we're going live here. We got deleted on, well, no, you don't need to know about that, but thank you for joining us. And here is the name of the artist that we're going to be looking at. It is Jane Monheit. And here is the music so that you get a chance to hear what we're going to be learning. We're going to be learning from her and at the same time dissecting her a little bit. Kind of saying, oh, how does she do all those great things? So here is the play portion of the introduction. So we're going to be looking at how does she do this? How does she create this great magic? And by using certain softwares, we're going to be able to figure that out. Okay, so I hope you enjoy that music. We're going to be looking at how does she do that. She's very popular in the contemporary jazz world right now. Is that correct, Linda?
Yes.
And this is my guest, Linda Woodson, who's a great jazz singer. And she's also my student, so she's going to be learning from me just like all you are going to be learning from me. So it's going to be just win-win all the way around. Okay, so the first thing we do is myth bust. Now, what does that mean? Well, it means that so many people out there say you should be perfectly on pitch and perfectly on rhythm when you're a singer. And when you watch Jane, how she sings, which is what we're going to do next, we're going to pull up what's called Melodyne. And when you do that, you're going to see that that's not what she does. She's not perfectly on pitch. She's not perfectly in rhythm. That's not how it works. And you have to kind of open your mind to that before you can actually learn from her. Otherwise, you're thinking, well, she's wrong. Well, no, she's not wrong. If we try to be different than she is, we're the one who's wrong because she's the successful singer. We're not. Okay, so we have it up on the screen now. So we're going to play a little bit of this. This is really a wonderful tool called, yeah, Brad, remember what you're talking about. Stem splitter. So we were able to get Jane's voice and put it right on here all by itself. So we can evaluate what is she doing? What does it sound like? And then these orange blobs are going to tell us what she's actually doing pitch-wise. This is the software that is used by mixers in recording studios to mix down tracks and do the editing. We're not going to edit this. We're just going to evaluate it. So let's listen to this one section, and then I'll start explaining a few things. So here's Melodyne being played with her voice on it.
The long, countless days, countless nights that I have searched, so many eyes, so many hearts, so many smiles.
So as you can tell, the woman has great tone. But Linda wanted to kind of look at this because she could hear that maybe this wasn't perfectly on pitch, maybe it wasn't perfectly in rhythm, and so if I'm not putting words in your mouth, Linda, that was kind of, you wanted to know how come that magic still happened, right?
Yes.
Okay, so that's what we're looking at. So the very first note that she sings here is quite flat. Now, how do I know that? Well, I can see it right here on the graph. This orange blob right here is her actual pitch. And it is, according to this little box up here, if you watch my arrow, is 56% flat. Well, okay. It still sounded good to me. All right. So then she hits the actual C sharp, and she's pretty much right on there. So it's not like they sing off pitch all the time or off rhythm all the time. It's a mixture. Here's a little bit flat. This one's a little bit more on pitch. This one is quite flat. That's actually supposed to be C sharp. And if you hear it against the piano, let's see here. See, it's not in tune. Now, is that bad or good? It's good because every style of music has its own tuning. And piano is basically for classical, choir, some musical theater, but pop music, jazz, swing, rhythm and blues, this is very erratic. And this is what we want to know. We want to know how erratic this is. And the other thing that we get to see here, and we'll get to see a little bit more of it and how it's done when we get to Audacity and put Jane in there, is these pickup notes. Ba-da, 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 ba-da. We get to see all of these notes and how she's sweeping up here, sweeping down there. These little lines here are like affectations. So as you listen again, kind of notice all of these things that you can see with your eyes. You may not understand them right away, but that's okay. We're here to learn just why singers are not perfectly on pitch and why they're not perfectly in rhythm. Here we go.
Alone, countless days, countless nights that I have searched, so many eyes, so many hearts, so many smiles.
Now, when you hear that last note in the music, when we're working on it, that's going to sound pretty in tune, but it's not. So it's supposed to be F. You see, it's not in tune. Now, these vertical lines here tell us rhythm. And she's playing with the rhythm as well. She's not right on the beat. And I'm going to play some sheet music for you in a moment so you can hear the difference. But we can tell by where these notes start and where they end, especially in these gray areas, that she's not always perfectly in rhythm. She's late here, right in between there. This is early here and then almost late there. Again, you don't have to understand exactly what I'm telling you, but I've done this enough I can tell you that this is the truth. And she's playing with the beat. She's behind it. She's ahead of it. And most jazz people know that that's important, especially rhythm and blues people. You've got to play with the beat. If the beat is too steady and too on, then you're in classical world. You're not in the jazz world anymore. All right. Any questions on this, Linda?
Nope.
Yeah, it's pretty straight ahead.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to move on to showing you what the sheet music sounds like. And that's always fun because it sounds so different. So let me pull that up for you all to see. I'm already singing it. Ba-da-da-da. Great song. Here we go. Share. And so now we're actually going to hear what's being played here. And this is a different key, granted. She's not singing as high, but you can still hear what it sounds like when it's perfectly on pitch and perfectly in rhythm. Same melody. Good. Now, I was asked the other day, why did I come up with what I call the vocal muse system or technique or the actual suite, which is a video program? And this was one of the main reasons. We used to bring pianists in. Oh, you can't see this yet, can you? This is one of the things I'm still learning, everyone, is to put things on stage. So please be patient. Here we go. Now it's on this. You can see it, right, Linda?
Yes.
Okay, so let's do that again. I need to get to the actual page. There we go. All right. So I can make this a little bigger maybe, but it's pretty big, isn't it? Can you see it pretty well?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And it's really not the sight, it's more the sound anyway. But right here, you can hear where she goes, the dreams, da, 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 da. Let me find that spot again. Yeah, right here. So when I play it on the sheet music, they have a piano playing it,
Mm-hmm.
and it's quantized. So everything is perfectly on pitch, perfectly in rhythm. And what we're trying to figure out here is it sounds different. And why would I not want to teach this anymore? That was the question. I was in the hot tub and I thought, you know, when I hear my students singing and we have a pianist come in and they play the notes and the student sings it like the piano, it just never sounded right to me because I grew up in this kind of music and I didn't know what to do. With all this new technology, though, this 21st century, I can now teach exactly what is going on in these styles of music so that all of my students can put together their own feel, their own style, their own artistry, but in their subconscious, they have the greatest singers in the world because they've learned this system. So let me play this again, and you can tell right away. Why did Brad not think this sounded right? Well, I think you could tell as soon as you listen again. It goes right here, right there. You see the notes, and everything's perfectly in rhythm. It's the same song, but it doesn't sound the same. Okay, so the reason I did that was to help you understand why I came up with the vocal muse system, because that's important. Why would anyone want to care what I'm going to teach here? Well, the reason is because it works. And all of my students do it this way, and they can depending on their level, of course. They can sing all the different styles. And Audacity offers us a lot of flexibility in being able to work with beginners versus someone medium, someone pro or a superstar. Audacity makes it possible for us to work with all of them. I'm going to pull that up next, and actually we'll pull it up on the screen, I promise. Just takes a little practice, that's all. Here we go. Now, I played this at the beginning of the show. This is the actual recording with the music of her singing. Let's just listen to that again. And remember what the sheet music sounded like and what this sounds like.
Those days, those nights that I have searched, so many eyes, so many hearts, so many smiles.
So this is what we're going to work on, and Linda's going to help by singing along with her and demonstrating how this works exactly, me being the coach and her learning from Jane. Now here's the big thing, everyone. I'm going to teach you how to learn from Jane, not from me, and not even from Linda, except for watching how we go through this process. But when you do this at home with your Audacity, using my system, you will actually learn from Jane. Jane's the teacher. That's why I call it the vocal muse system, and I'm not on the stage. You can see that right now. Okay, now you can see this. So this is the system we're using, the Audacity, which is a DAW, D-A-W. It just means digital workstation, so we can use this to work on our music and learn exactly what's going on. You heard it, but you didn't get to see it. So I'm going to play it again. Go. You can see it moving from left to right. These are blue blobs instead of orange blobs. So I figured out I needed to create an entirely different system rather than just teaching straight technique and saying, okay, everybody get it right on the pitch and get it right on the rhythm and bring a pianist in to have them play along. That just doesn't work. It's a whole new, it's been a whole new world for 100 years now. We need to change with the times. So that's what this is all about. So what we do here with Audacity is I create a line right here, which will give us a couple of beats before the actual singing starts that we're going to be listening to. So here we're listening. Now when it gets to the end of the phrase that we're working on, I'm going to click pause. So Linda, you could pull up the lyrics on your computer if you want. That might help.
Yes, I have them.
You got it already?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, great. All right, so this is the phrase. Now, I can highlight the phrase, you see, by drawing between the lines. And you want to make sure you get both tracks. Otherwise, when you're changing things, you have one track in one state and the other in a different state. That doesn't sound good either. So the first thing is that now that I've marked this, we could put it in loop mode and just listen as many times as we want. And that's a big advantage because listening is the key. If you don't listen to Jane, if you just sing along with her, you'll never actually know what Jane is doing. So I'll make the demonstration here so Linda doesn't have to sound bad like I'm going to sound bad. So I don't really know it, right? So I just said, okay, I want to learn this song. So I push play and I start singing along. And this is what it sounds like when people do that. And they do it all the time. So I don't even know the words, so I'm not even going to try, but I'll get the melody. But you see, I'm not really with her because I can't hear her. I don't really know what she's doing because I'm singing and I'm in the way. So listening, this is the number one thing that I came up with when learning from great singers like this. Because you can't use music theory, you can't use sheet music, you can't even use a voice teacher because the voice teacher sings it, they sing it different. They don't sing it the way Jane does, and even if they try, they're still not Jane. They're still not a great jazz singer. They're a coach. They're not a great, or a teacher. They're not a great jazz singer. Now, if you can get the lessons directly from Jane, that's a little different, but this way we don't have to go to Jane. We can learn from her without it. So this is why I call it the vocal muse technique. So what I'm going to do here is we're going to listen to it twice at the original tempo, That way you'll understand what I'm going to do next.
So many stars along the countless days, the endless nights that I have searched. So many eyes, so many hearts, so many smiles. Which one?
We're listening again.
So many
One more time.
stars.
Listening is the key.
Along the countless days, the endless nights that I have searched. So many eyes, so many hearts, so
Beautiful.
many smiles.
Now, when you think back, when we looked at Melodyne, it said that a lot of these notes were off pitch. Kind of weird, huh? Because now when we hear it, it sounds pretty good. Now, if you have a really good ear, you can hear that it's off. But this is not about perfect pitch. Don't even go there. You wouldn't like it if it was on pitch. I'm telling you, that's why we played the sheet music. So what's important here is to listen, to absorb, to understand. Now, the original tempo, this is a ballad, so it's fairly slow. But I'm still going to slow it down. And this is very similar to what they do with athletes. When they want to know how a great athlete does something, but the athlete themselves doesn't necessarily know every move they make, they record it on video and then they play it back very slowly. And when you watch sports, they do it even during the competitions so that everyone can understand, oh, they put their foot there, or they swung this way, or they kicked that. So we're doing the same thing here. It's not really different. We're just going to slow this down. So we go to what's called effect in Audacity. We go to pitch and tempo, and we select tempo first. That's the first thing we're going to do, because we don't need to change the key, because Linda can do this in this key very well, because I know that she can, because I work with her. She has never done it before, so we don't think it's going to be great, but we know that the pitch is not going to be a problem for her. So we're just going to go minus 25%. So what that means is 25% slower. That's 30, 25, 37, that's fine. So we're going to preview it first. Now, when you use Audacity, make sure you check this little box here that says use high quality stretching. I don't have that on the video because they didn't have that at the time I made the video. They're always changing the software, but this is a big advance. It sounds a lot better when you play it back when you check this box. Then always with computers, preview it, because you can't count on them. Or at least you can't count on yourself. That's what we want to hear. Okay, so I'm going to apply it. Now I'm going to loop it. And because this is a show and we don't want to go on for 5 hours, we're going to listen to it just 2 or 3 times. What I suggest when you're working on this for your homework, you should listen to it 20 at least, even before you start singing, just 10, 20, 30 times. It all depends on how quickly you pick things up. But if you want to hear the details, and that's what we're going to talk about next, you need to slow it down and listen. So let's listen for details. I'm going to ask you, Linda, what you heard after we've listened a couple of times. And in the audience, the same thing. If you want to chat and tell me what you heard, or maybe you have some questions about what's going on, Linda's watching the chat box. She could tell me what you said, and then I can respond verbally. Because I've got so much going on up here, I can't do the chat box. All right, so here we go. Slow down, 37%. We can hear that vibrato's below the pitch there.
Countless days, endless nights
Yeah.
that I have searched. So many eyes, so many hearts,
So much emotion.
so many smiles, so many
So it's repeating?
Countless days, endless nights that I have searched. So many
Now that we slowed her down, you might notice things you don't like, but that's not why we're here. We're not here to say, oh, that's wrong. We're here to say, this is a great artist. People love what she's doing. Why? And can we learn it? And yes, we can. What did you hear, Linda, that you maybe have not noticed in the past?
Well, I'd say what is more obvious when you slow it down is the variation of the rhythm, you know, coming in maybe before the beat a lot, and the words almost, you know, conversational in a sense, like, you know, the emotion in them, and not just kind of singing the perfect vowel or whatever, or maybe a little bit, I don't know, effect or something with the consonants or something to make it sound a lot like she's talking to you and singing to you.
Yeah, like a storyteller kind of.
Yeah.
And again, that's very common in the modern styles, the rhythm and blues, jazz, country, western. You know, the audience wants to feel like you're talking to them, not singing down to them. So that's a big thing to notice. Also, you notice that she's not using perfect diction.
Yeah.
And some people teach that as well. You have to have the exact consonant pronounced at the beginning and the end of every word. If she did that, again, it would put her more in the choir sound, not in the jazz sound. So we don't want to imitate that. And then the slurs down, like you were saying, that's kind of like talking. Ba-ba, ba-da-ba-ba, ba-da-ba-ba. But to get it, like you said, exactly right with the rhythms, because she's playing with them, the listening is where we get that. We can't predict what she's going to do, so the listening is where we get that. So what we're going to do here, again, we have to use kind of a shorthand style here, is to play it one more time so you can listen, and then I'd like you to sing along, just the part where it goes, ba-da. You can use the very beginning just to know where she's at, where you don't need to sing there. So you listen to that, and then when she comes in, da, ba, that's when you'll come in. But listen one time to kind of get your bearing. Here we go.
So many stars along the countless days, endless nights that I have searched. So many eyes, so many hearts, so many smiles, so many stars.
Am I singing now?
Yeah.
Along countless days, endless nights that I have searched. So many eyes, so many hearts, so many smiles.
That was very good. And of course, you would practice it more, right? You'd sing it a lot more. But you're matching her pitch, which is important because, like we saw in Melodyne, if you were trying to match piano pitch, you'd be sharp. Because a lot of her notes are flat. The ones that she's on pitch, again, you'll feel that, and you'll know that's what it should sound like. What we're doing, everyone, here is called a unison. So when we're trying to learn from a singer, that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to create a unison with them. We hear them, we sing along with them, and hopefully we match them well enough that we've learned exactly what they're doing. So Linda was getting very close there. But now how can Linda know how close she really was, or where there might be some changes that she'd like to make? We're going to record it on another track. Yeah, Audacity allows us to do another track, and then she'll be able to hear back where her unison is with Jane and where it is a little bit off. And it's not for critique of like, oh, I made a mistake. It's for critique of, hey, I'm getting it better. I was with her here. Now I just need to make a slight change there. Then I'll be with her there. And when you get the complete unison, it's really a confidence builder, because if you think of Jane as a great singer and you're doing what she does, and you know Linda's kind of in her own world that way. She's already a great singer. She does her own thing, but she was willing to help me out on this, and I really appreciate it. But she's still, we all can learn something from somebody, right? Doesn't matter how good we are, how many years we've been singing. So this is why I think Linda wanted to hear. And, you know, Linda, you were talking about the conversational part and the swooping and so forth. See, in this style, because she's popular, you have to say, well, flat notes are popular. So we don't want to fix them. We want to match them. Mm-hmm. And like you said, pushing and pulling the beat is popular. What would you say the meaning of the song is right here? What, you can even say the words out if you want. You've got them in front of you. What is she talking about?
I guess, the words are talking about so many stars and, looking for love and I guess trying to, if you apply to love, there's all these people out there trying to find the perfect love for you, because that's, ultimately, I think what she's looking for, not stars, but actually love, a connection.
Right. It's kind of symbolic, yeah.
Yes.
Like I said, which is so important to understand because, again, why are we singing? If we're not telling stories and we're not expressing emotions, we're just kind of being robots, doing what somebody told us to do. And art is not about being a robot. It's about expressing yourself. And so Jane does it her own way. Nobody does it exactly like Jane. Nobody does it exactly like Linda. But each one of these singers, no matter how good they are, how popular they are, they've all learned from other singers in their life. You can't just create art out of a vacuum. Your subconscious has got to be full of information. I'm going to have you listen one more time, and then we'll record because I was kind of in your way talking there for a moment. So listening one more time, then we'll record.
So many stars, along the countless days, endless nights that I have searched, so many eyes, so many hearts, so many smiles.
Okay, so this time we're recording. Here we go. Linda's done lots of this.
Many stars, along the countless days, endless nights that I have searched, so many eyes, so many hearts, so many smiles.
All right, now we'll play this back, but I also wanted to say that vibratos can be kind of an issue in this because when we slowed it down, we also slowed down her vibrato. Mm-hmm. But I still think it's worth matching it because it's not in the classical world. It's not considered healthy to do vibrato that slow. Mm-hmm. But this is not classical, and we're not singing in a big open hall. We're using microphones, and that changes all the rules. I'm just hoping more and more that voice teachers all around the world will start to pick up on this, so that when we hear people on the corner singing music or, on a karaoke or whatever, that they're learning it the right way so that we can enjoy more singers. I know that sounds like any teacher should want that, but I don't know that they all do. But that's what I want. I want everybody to be singing better. Of course, I want to make a living at it too, because otherwise I'd just be sitting on my couch eating potato chips, and that wouldn't be much fun. So this is what I love doing, as you could tell. I get quite excited. Sometimes I talk in the middle of things because I think, I want to make sure you all know this. But we talked about the emotions, and we're not really working on that right now. But as we listen back, Linda will be able to, again, judge how close she was to what Jane was doing so she can learn. This is about learning. We're not trying to impress you all with we're great singers and we teach the great technique and all that kind of stuff. No, I'm showing you that Jane Monheit is a great singer, and we're students of hers right now. We're learning from her. It's a whole different mentality than me getting on there and showing you what great voice I have and what great voices my students have, that's really not going to teach you anything. It might excite you, but it won't teach you anything. Here we go. We're listening. So we're listening for that unison.
Countless days, endless nights that I have searched, so many eyes, so many hearts, so many smiles.
Pick up what you changed a little bit.
Yeah.
I mean,
sure.
yeah, that's all that matters, is that we're listening, we're learning, we're going, okay, I could do this, I could do that. Now, keep in mind, and we'll talk about this more at the end, this is not about Linda becoming Jane. This is not about becoming copy singers. This is about learning skills. So, because Linda makes up her own style all the time. She can scat sing, which is really a skill. And she's making stuff up all the time. She writes her own music. So she's here just to learn, like everybody else, what can I do that might help my overall career? Maybe this wouldn't help you at all. And that's a decision an artist always has to make. Maybe this is the wrong song for you. Maybe you don't relate to these lyrics. Those are the important things. Now, after this happens, and this becomes perfectly in unison, and I've done it before, and Linda could be saying at this point, "Oh, I nail it. That's exciting. I know I can do this." It's like a confidence builder. And then when I check off on it as well and say, "Yeah, that was really good. That was right on," it's kind of a double boost for your confidence, which is what we all need on stage. Everybody, no matter who they are, even great stars say, "How do I get over being scared on stage?" Well, we need to build confidence, and this kind of thing builds in internal confidence rather than external. The other confidence, of course, comes from a lot of applause, right? Big tips in your tip jar and so forth and so on. But this here is really like, yeah, I'm getting this, and I can prove it. So the next step would be, and we've talked about it just briefly, is what emotions would Linda put into this? So we're going to close this track, and we're going to go back to the original tempo. Give me a sec here to go through these edits. I want to make sure we're in the right tempo. And then I'm going to, unchange the tempo. There we go. So now we're going to listen one time, and then I'm going to remove Jane's voice and let Linda make up her own. You ready for that?
I guess.
Yes, I know you are. I wouldn't be asking you. But again, it's not about us showing off. It's, if Linda was a complete beginner and could barely do it, I would still suggest the same thing. Because if you wait until you can sing perfectly in technique to start on your art, you're going to be way behind the ball. And what I've seen is people who have great technique and no skill with emotions. When I try to help them with their emotions, it's really, really hard for them. So we've already talked about what this song means and kind of what Linda feels about it. And now we're going to actually have Linda sing the words. And this is kind of the end of the process. And I call this my sing from feel method. So we have two things here: vocal muse, learning from Jane, and then sing from feel, creating your own art. And one is a video program, and it's on the left-hand side. Got that little duck there in the QR. I can't get rid of that. But if you click on that, that'll take you to my Vocal Muse page. And then the one to the right, the QR for there, is the Sing From Feel ebook, which I wrote all about this emotional stuff so that people can actually start to understand why it's important. And it's not a vocal technique book. I don't need to tell you why, but it's just not. So check it out. And again, if you go to the site where it's promoted, you'll be able to learn more about that, even if you don't buy it. All right, here we go. You ready? Oh, you want to listen to it one time, Linda?
Sure.
You want to just hear the music, or do you want to hear her too?
I'll hear the music.
Okay, here we go. And with a stem splitter, this is Jane Monheit's band. Great jazz musicians. Okay, Give it a shot.
Okay.
All mistakes are knowledge.
Alone, countless days, the endless nights that I have searched, so many eyes, so many hearts, so many smiles.
That was great. Thank you.
Yeah.
And then what she would do, and we'll do it here, this time we're going to record it, and then you would have it to review, and then you could record it again, and back and forth until you were happy with what you were going to go to in the recording studio and do, or go on live stage. So again, this is all about preparation. So if you've got a show, you've got 10,000 people to sing for tonight, you put your time in, you're going to be confident, they're going to love you, and you don't worry about it. So let's see, let's going to record you singing that. I really enjoyed that. Thank you, Linda. Here we go. Let's do it again. We're recording now.
Alone, the countless days, the endless nights that I have searched, so many eyes, so many hearts, so many smiles.
So, you can imagine if Linda can do that just off the cuff, give her a couple of days or a week or so to work on this, and she really blow us away. So let me bring the volume of this up so we can hear it beautifully. Again, all of these processes that I'm going through here are, except for this amplification I just did, are on the video source. Once you go into any video these days, the software changes, so you have to use Google search or AI to figure out what the changes are. And Audacity put this thing in here where you always have to amplify the recording after you're done. Didn't have to do that when I made the program. All right, we're just going to listen now. Linda, of course, is going to be listening like, oh, what was the rhythm? What was the pitch? But the rest of us can enjoy the emotions. And again, she didn't have a chance to really get into the emotions, but there are emotions. This is Linda's version. This is where the end result is her version after she's learned from Jane and was it Sarah? What was the other girl's name?
Samara Joy.
Yeah, Samara, and Algero and whoever that Linda's been influenced by is all coming out right here. Here we go.
Alone, the countless days, the endless nights that I have searched, so many eyes, so many hearts, so many smiles.
Now, to make that a little bit more fun, I'm going to add some reverb to it. Audacity doesn't do that automatically. I have to put it in, so. There we go. Get more effects. Oh, no. Okay. Reverb. Here we go. Might be a little bit thick, so sometimes it comes in a little heavy, but let's enjoy it with the reverb now.
Alone, the countless days, the endless nights that I have searched, so many eyes, so many hearts, so many smiles.
So here's another mythbuster. Some people think reverb is to make bad singers sound good. No, it's for making great singers like Linda sound better. Because reverb is natural in a room. If you want to look at my podcast page on my website, which is bradchapmanradicalvocalcoach.com, easy to find, you'll find podcasts where we interviewed producers and mix engineers, and they talk about reverb is always got to be there because that's what naturally happens inside of a room that's not there if you don't put it there. And then it sounds kind of like it did before, a little dry. Beautiful. And again, let's just imagine, Linda's next show, she's going to sing a little better now because she learned some new tools that are in your subconscious. That's the funny thing, When you learn these things from singers and you make up your own, you're really not doing exactly what you remember. You're just emotionally expressing yourself musically, and it just comes out. And it's just a terrific feeling. I hope you all get a chance to do it someday. So that's pretty much the wrap on it. The only other thing I'm going to do is I made a little video. We're going to improve upon it, but for now I want to show it to you, which actually shows you how it sounds at the beginning when somebody starts to use my system, and then what it sounds like once they've achieved the actual goal. And here it is. As usual, I have to go through this. Someday maybe I'll have a producer that'll do this and we'll speed things up. For now,
This is Brad Chapman.
Here he is.
Radical
Okay.
vocal coach. I'm going to show you
Stop him right now.
how Ed
from-
Sheeran
where'd
is such
you
a
go?
great, incredible star.
He wasn't supposed to
etc.
start. Okay. Here we go. Let's get this on the stage now. There we go. Now let's get on the stage. There it is. Okay. So here's Brad again. You're probably going to get tired of this guy. Bring this up. There's text in here to explain what's going on. And here we go.
Hi, this is Brad Chapman, Radical Vocal Coach. I'm going to show you how Ed Sheeran is such a great, incredible star, etc. In other words, not only him, but you'll see why it adapts to any singer. The way we try to learn from these people has not been working. Didn't work for me, doesn't work for hardly any student I've had or anybody I've ever known. So I'm going to show you the way we do it, and you'll see why it doesn't work. Then I'll show you the results of my VMS system, and you're going to love it. Hang on for a great ride.
Well, I'm in love with the shape of you. We push and pull like a magnet do. Although my heart is falling too. I'm in love with your body now. Well, I'm in love with the shape of you. We push and pull like a magnet do. Although my heart keeps falling too. I'm in love with your body now. Or I'm in love with the shape of you. We push and pull like a magnet do. Although my heart keeps falling too. I'm in love with your body now.
You see, that's the unison I was talking about. The singer ends up in the perfect unison with Ed Sheeran. That way, again, the singer knows now that they can do what they want to learn how to do. And Ed's just one of the singers. And, you know, you start finding a lot of things that are very similar between all of these artists. And one of them, Linda mentioned, which is very powerful, is it kind of sounds like talking. So even though Ed was very high energy, when we worked on it, slowed everything down, looked at it on Melodyne, it was a lot more like, I'm in love with the shape of you, you know, instead of I'm in love with the shape of you. Had a lot more of a speech color to it. And, you know, the guys, that was live, so he was having a blast singing away. And there was a real fast riff in there. We had to slow that way down. We didn't have to do that with Jane today because she didn't do anything that tricky. But if you get a lick that you want to learn from somebody who sings very fast, then you go even slower, maybe 60%. Then you can hear each individual note and line it up and match it. And again, now you know exactly how that lick goes, where if you didn't slow it down, might be guessing. Because when I guessed with Ed, and I've been doing this a long time, I've got a pretty good ear, I missed some things definitely at that tempo. That's actually 16th notes at 96 beats a minute. That's taking 1/4, I'm turning it into 16th. So it's really fun to get in and learn that. So let me just mention again, the left QR is for the Vocal Muse system, and the right one is for the Sing from Field book. Of course, obviously, highly recommend them. If you don't like them, let me know. Give you your money back. So no worries there. Any questions, Linda?
No, this is great. Thank you.
Well, see, there you go. You heard it from her mouth. She's a good singer. She said it's great. So I only pay her $100,000 a year to do that.
Right.
I'm cheap, you know. I need to give her a raise. So thank you all so much for coming to the show, and I hope you learned a tremendous amount. I hope the singers in the world that don't know this start to sing more emotionally, with more feel, with more everything. All of my students enjoy it. I think you will too. And I'll talk to you later. Make comments below, and I'll respond to those. And also, of course, with YouTube, they want you to, watch out, here it comes, like and subscribe. Because when you subscribe and like, YouTube knows that this show is a value to people. And I know it's a value. My confidence is very high there. There's no issue. But if you subscribe, you'll know when my next show is going to be, because I don't plan these ahead. I teach too much to actually say, okay, every Monday we're going to do this. I love teaching privately. That's, Linda and I have a blast just working together one-on-one without being in front of an audience. And so that's really where I prefer to spend my time. So if you subscribe, you'll know. And if you like, then more people will know about this, and you'll be helping the world out, making everyone a better singer. So this is the end of the show. Thank you so much for being here. Bye, Linda. Appreciate you.
Bye-bye. Thank you.